Okay, let me see. Just still setting up things, right? Okay. Okay. Um, let's see. Just still setting up things. Okay, so people gather and we get started. I'm waiting for about one or two people. Then we head into this thing so that we don't get to delay, right? And yeah, so I hope the sound is right. I hope everything is set. Um, yeah, I believe we're good to go. Okay. So I know it's getting late and I wouldn't want to, waste so much of your time. So here's what's going to happen. If you've ever been someone who's struggling with, like, if you've ever been told that you got to find a niche for your own business, yeah, and you don't know how to even get there, or you haven't figured it out, then this live session is going to be for you. And also, if you've ever struggled with finding or right market position, or if you've ever struggled with positioning yourself in the market, then this mini workshop is going to be for you. And then lastly, if you ever tried so many funnels out there in the market and struggled to find which one gets to work best for you, then I believe this is also going to be the workshop you've ever been wanting to have, or something you ever wanted to have at your access. Yeah. So what is going to happen is we are going to break this clarity workshop into three parts. The first part is going to be where we address the buyer clarity. The second part, that is where we're going to address the positioning clarity. And then the last part is going to be where we talk about the funnel, all right? That underlooked funnel that most of you probably get to use, but you haven't been using it in the right way. Okay. So maybe if later on if you get to have that interest, we'll get to have that live Q&A session where we get to address, or you ask questions in, like, questions that are related to whatever it is that we are going to look at. Okay. So without wasting much of your time, let's get to address the buyer clarity thing. Yeah. So to start off with, we need to understand that generally in the market, I've been saying this so many times over my shorts, videos, long forms, and all that, but that in the marketplace, there's always three types of buyers. Yeah. So let's get to be so visual about it. Yeah. So I want us to assume that this is our marketplace. Yeah. So in the marketplace, there's always going to be a lot of people that needs to be serving. Yeah. But the thing you need to understand, yeah, if you really need to have clarity on what this is exactly, or the kind of buyers you're going to have. First of all, there are people who say you need to find a niche. Yeah. And I totally agree, because money is in the niches. Yeah. So in the marketplace, you'll find guys that are dealing in relationship, others in this is relationship. You'll find others that are dealing in money making, and then you'll find others that are dealing in health. Yeah. So those that get to say that you need to focus or find a niche that you get to serve, that is where they come into play. Yeah. So instead of you trying to attack each and every one, yeah, in the marketplace, you need to focus on finding that specific niche. Yeah. So we are going to assume that we're in the money making niche. Yeah. So we assume that after listening to the advice of people that money is in the niches, you now choose a niche of money making. Yeah. So now this becomes your small market. Now, here's what's going to be most important. Yeah. When you get to choose a niche, now you need to understand, this is where the clarity gets to come in. Like, what kind of people are there in the market? Yeah? So you need to understand the buyer types. Yeah. And as I always get to say that there are three types of buyers in the market. Yeah? Three types. And the first one, we always have the DIY buyers. The second one, we have the guided buyers. And then the third, we have the ROI buyers. So if you've been watching me for quite some time, then you understand the difference between these. But for those of you watching me for the first time, let me first introduce myself. I'm Alan. I help solopreneurs and entrepreneurs get to price with clarity, confidence, and control. So this is what I've always been preaching. So in this market, yeah, in this sub-niche market you've chosen, there's always going to be three types of buyers. You're going to have DIY buyers, those that just want to seek knowledge. Yeah, they don't want you to get involved in whatever it is that they are dealing in. Yeah, they just want to acquire knowledge. They just want to buy your books. They just want to know how this is done. Maybe listen to your audiobooks or whatever, and go put in action what it is that they have learned from reading your stuff. Okay, and then we have guided buyers. So these guided buyers, those are the types of buyers that just want to be with you, like they want to do everything alongside you. Yeah, so this is basically where you get to find people that need to be guided, need to be coached onto achieving certain things. Yeah, and in most cases this is so common when it comes to the health sector, where specifically under the niche of gym. Yeah, so you'll find a gym instructor and the student, or someone who wants to lose weight. Yeah, so what normally gets to happen, and this is a perfect scenario of a guided kind of buyer. They want to buy your maybe protocol or your whatever it is that you get to sell them so that they lose weight, but still you have to be there in person to guide them on what to do right, what to do wrong. I mean, to avoid what to do things that are not right and stuff like that. And then the ROI buyers, those are the people that want to reap from the investments that they get to make. Remember, everything in the world is an investment, and an investment in terms of time, money, or other kind of means. Yeah. So if they choose to invest time to take on your course, then you have to show up and then give them whatever it is that they expect from spending that time, spending that money, or even like whatever it is that they're spending. Yeah. So that is it. So if you're to focus on the clarity part, yeah, this is why it comes into play. Now, first of all, we are going to draw this three-piece pyramid. So this will be our DIY buyers. These are going to be guided buyers. And then lastly, our ROI buyers. Yeah. So now, first of all, you understood you have to niche down, and then when you niche down, in every market, you're always going to find these three types of buyers. So what kind of buyer do you need to target most? Yeah. So if you choose to go the very specific way, you can choose to target DIY buyers. Yeah. And I made a video about what these guys really need. Yeah. Unless if you want me to go into details, just let me know in the chat, and maybe I'll get to do another video just to specify that. Yeah. And specify which of these that these guys get to buy. Yeah. So we have guided buyers, DIY buyers, and ROI buyers. So for those of you who have multiple interests, yeah, maybe you have the potential to serve DIY buyers, you have the potential to serve guided buyers, you have the potential to serve ROI buyers. Yeah. So the best spot that will be there for you will be this intersection part. Yeah. So if you have multiple interests, this is where you'll be need. This is where you will be. Yeah. Or it is the specific spot you'll be targeting. You'll be targeting some guys from the guided, some guys from the ROI, and some guys from the DIY. Okay. So I hope this is clear. If it is not clear, just let me know in the chat and we'll get to address this. Yeah. So now you've understood or you've gotten perfect clarity on what it is that really gets to happen in that market. Maybe just to recap, in every market situation, yeah, you're always going to find multiple kind of niches, or multiple kind of what can I call them? Let me just call them niches, yeah, or interests, yeah. But if you really want to make money, you have to zone out and find your crew, yeah, like find your perfect niche, or find that kind of interest that gets to pull your much attention that you can do for quite some time. And that is where you come out and you get to niche. You niche down because money is in the niches. Yeah. So now you're no longer trying to solve relationship, money, and health. Now you chose to do money. Yeah. So if you just choose this, you're going to make money on its own. Yeah. So if you just say, I'm going to niche down in the money market. Yeah. So you need to have perfect clarity of the type of people that you're going to find in the money market. Yeah. So the first type of people that we said will be the DIY buyers. For them, if you sell them books, they'll just want to have books, read, put into implementation, and then get to make money. If you're the kind of guided person, those are the kind of situations where you'll find yourself trying to do a one-on-one kind of course with a student, with a business personnel, with a business owner, so that they get to reap the goods, they get to make the money. Yeah. If it is the ROI buyers, maybe they have the money, but they don't have the time. So they pay you to do it for them. Yeah. So they assume that their investment in terms of money they are putting in your business is going to bring them returns. And that is why they're dealing with you. Yeah. So this is the perfect clarity of what you should expect, regardless of the niche you're serving. So take note of that. And so this is for the core niche. So for those of you who have multiple interests, the only way you're going to make perfect money is not just to rely so much into serving one kind of or one type of buyers. Yeah. Because as earlier said, that if you get to choose to serve only one type, yeah, let's assume you're only serving the ROI buyers, yeah, and maybe these are paying 33.3, 33.3, 33.3. Let's assume that's the percentage of people that are there. So the moment you get to choose to serve only the 33.3, that means you're leaving out money for these guys of the DIY and the guided buyers. And that is something you didn't want, because you're in business to make money. Okay? So watch out for that. And if you're multi-talented, this is also something that is good for you, something that should pique interest. Yeah. So if you have the potential, you're not so much of an introvert, you're not camera shy like most of us, yeah, you can just choose to say, okay, I'm going to write a book. If you have the skills, I'll just be able to, I have the ability to talk someone through a process and get them to have results. Then you fit into the guided kind of section. And then if you're someone who is ready to take risks, spend sleepless nights so that you get the work done for your clients, on behalf of your clients, that is to be specific, then you can get to serve the ROI buyers. Yeah. So if you have that potential, then this is where you're going to make money. That point of intersection. Yeah. So here you'll make money, but here you'll make extra money. All right. Now that is part one. In case you have questions you need to ask about part one, just feel free to, let me know how it's going to get. Okay. But since there is no question, let's proceed to the next one, because this is going to be a chronological kind of sequence. Yeah. So this one we've had business buyer type clarity. Yeah. So if you get to understand this, it is going to take us to the next phase that we're going to address here. Okay. So now, I assume you have perfect clarity of the type of buyer you want to serve. And this is going to lead us to the next step, that is positioning. Yeah. So up next is positioning clarity. So how do you get to know the perfect way to position yourself? Yeah. So let's say you choose to be a multi-talented person. How do you get to zero down on a specific portion or part of that kind of group in the market? Yeah. So in other words, the fact that you know the type of buyers, it doesn't guarantee you that you get to make money. And for that same reason, we are going to look at these three things. Yeah. First of all, for you to make money, regardless of the type of buyers you're choosing, you have to keep in mind three things. Yeah. And that is one, you have to keep in mind the ability to have money. Yeah. Or ability to pay. The second thing, you got to have your clients or your buyer types have pain. And then lastly, from pain, that is urgency. Outcome, right? So it is ability to pay, having pain, and then urgency, which is time clock. Yeah. So regardless of the buyer type you get to choose, that specific buyer type or that intersection part of all the three buyer types, they need to have this in order for you to have a positioned business that is going to make you money. Okay, so again, taking an example of a Venn diagram. I don't know why I like Venn diagrams, but I think they'll get to drive the point home. So we assume this is pain, this is urgency, and then this is ability to pay. So what you're looking out for in order for you to position yourself, or in order for you to have that assurance that the business you're running, you've chosen, is able to pay or earn you money, is this. Yeah? So I hope you're understanding this. If it is confusing, just let me know, and I'll help you, break it even further. But since there are no questions, let's go ahead and proceed. Yeah? So to position yourself in the right market that gets to make you money, you have to target buyer types that get to have pain, buyer types that need urgency, that is in the solution, and buyer types that have the ability to pay. Yeah? So let me give an example. The fact that, if you remember, we chose the money-making niche. Yeah? And okay, let me just give myself as an example. The way I position myself and know that the kind of market I'm targeting has buyer types that are going to make me money. Yeah, that is why I'm in business. Is these guys, they're having issues with pricing. Yeah, they lack the confidence. They're underpricing. They're overpricing. Yeah, they lack control of whatever it is that they sell. So this is the pain. Yeah, they underprice, lack control. And probably they have low self-esteem because they're unsure of what it is that they have to sell. Yeah? And then the urgency is they are really looking for solutions, yeah, of how to get this pain or these kind of pains done over with. Okay, so they need solutions to their pain. Yeah. So they want to find a means of how they can gain back control of their business. They are looking for solutions or how they can stop underpricing so that they start making profits. And at the same time, they're looking for ways of how they can increase their self-esteem, that is the confidence they have whenever they choose to mention out their prices. Yeah. And now when it comes to pay, these guys already are in business. Yeah. So they have money. Yeah. Now, the fact that they have money, it means that they are willing to invest whatever amount of money they can have or they can be asked so that they find the solutions that are going to do away with the pain, which will in turn get to increase on the amount of money they get to make. So I hope the example I've given gets to be so clear. Yeah. So if you want to know that you've positioned yourself in the market that is going to make you money as a business, then these three have to come into play. So let me just recap. You have to target buyer types, the ones we saw previously, that have the ability to pay, that is, they have money. Still, they got to have the pain, yeah, something that is really tarnishing their self-esteem, something that they feel like it's hurting, destroying them, and then they have to have the urgency to do away with the pain. Yeah. So let me just give another example that might relate. Yeah. So suppose you're in a money-making niche, yeah, and the kind of buyer types you're targeting are students, yeah, and with students, usually, yes, they might have the pain that they need to have money, yeah, in order to sustain their life or lifestyle, yeah. They might have the urgency, yeah, that I have to make money first, or I have to earn money first so that I get to buy this, I get to take my girlfriend out, I get to do certain stuff, okay? But their ability to pay, the fact that they're students, it means they don't get to have the money. Yeah? So if you choose to serve that kind of market, then you've positioned yourself in a wrong market. And that way, you're not going to be profitable. If you're profitable, you're not going to earn as much. In other words, sometimes you'll be running a donation instead of running a business. Yeah. So that is the best example I can give for both. The best way to position yourself in a market that gets to pay you, and then the other example, the extreme example where you might get off with your positioning. Yeah. So in all that you get to do, find buyer types that have the ability to pay, that have the pain, and they have the urgency to deal with the pain. Because when you have more of the urgency, more of the pain, and the more of the ability to pay, you're going to pay a lot of money, and that is what we need to have. That is why we need to position ourselves. Yeah. So if I don't have any question, yeah, now's the time to just let me know, and we get to deal with that. Okay. But if you don't have any question, then I'm going to assume that this is the one you understand most. Okay. And maybe the other thing is, if you understand this three-part Venn diagram, yeah, it will give you clarity, yeah, on understanding if whatever kind of business is going to be profitable from now or in years to come. That is, it will provide you with better, what is it called, estimation of your future business. Okay. So that being said, if there are no questions, cool. If there are lots of questions, just let me know in the chat or just let me know comment, and yeah, I'll get to help you break this even further. Yeah, I will either get to give you an offer, we do a one-on-one, or either get to find ways, maybe do a shorter video instead of a live, so that you can keep watching it. Yeah. So for those of you who are just joining in, or if you're watching a replay, yeah, we are here doing some sort of mini clarity workshop. Yeah, because most of you have been confused of certain things. So we're doing a business clarity where we clarify on each and every issue that most of solopreneurs find confusing. Yeah. And to start off with, we started off with finding clarity of our buy types. Now, in a few seconds ago, we've just done our positioning clarity, and we found out where we need to be to position ourselves or position our businesses so that they get to make money, which is the goal of our business or the goal of running a business. Yeah? So now, as promised, the funnel. Yeah? So we look at the funnel. So this is the most analog thing. Yeah? And I believe by the time I finish breaking it down, it is going to make clear sense than you ever thought. Okay. So this time I'm not going to use a three circle Venn diagram. I'm going to use a two. Yeah? And if you're wise enough and you know where I'm going, yes, just let me know in the chat. But just for clear purposes, this is going to lead us to one. I don't know whether it is a funnel or what, but I would like to call it as a funnel. And trust me, by the end of me explaining this Venn diagram, you'll understand why it is a funnel and why most of you guys, you're underlooking it. Okay, so we're going to assume that now we have our funnel in terms of a two-section Venn diagram. Yeah. So here we have free and we have premium. Yeah. So obviously, between free and premium, there is always a group of people that sometimes want free, but sometimes want premium. Yeah. And this will be our, let's say, mid tire. Let's call this a free tire. This is a premium tire. Yeah. So now I think you understand why I called it the power tire funnel. Okay, so let me explain this. In most cases, when you're starting a business, now we've known our buyer types, we know how to position ourselves. Yeah. Now it's time for us to do the pricing. How are we going to price this? Yeah. And that's the whole essence of this funnel. So in most cases, when you're starting up a business, regardless of your people, you would want to first try it out. Yeah. Because it is easier for you to first run test trials. When you get enough trust and build credibility within the market, then people trust you and then they'll choose to give you their money, and then life goes on like that. Yeah. So the first step you're going to do, you're going to give out free samples. Yeah. So you're going to offer a free tire kind of offer. Yeah. So you'll be like, yo guys, you know what? I have a book that is coming out. And by the way, my book is almost coming out. Just be ready. I'll be leaving a link maybe in the replay so that you get to, sign up and let me know whether you want the book or not. Yeah. So you say, I have a lead magnet in form of a book. Yeah? If you get to read it, you'll get to, get to understand how to make money. Remember, we chose our money making niche. Yeah. So in most cases, this is where you're going to find our DIY buyers. Okay. I believe it's now making some sense. Yeah. So another free tire, that's where you're going to find our DIY buyers. Yeah. Sometimes they want free stuff, most of students, for example, researchers, for example. And yeah, they'll say, I just need information. I don't need you in whatever it is that you're providing. Okay. So it could be you give out video assets like YouTube assets, give podcast, you do like all sorts of information that you put out to the market. So you put it here. Whoever wants to try out your stuff, they can access it for free. Yeah. So best examples, we have Alex Amozi, we have Dan Cole, we have Ali Abdel, we have Dan Martel, we have Sean Cannell. Like we have lots of people that do this. Yeah. They give out stuff for free. Yeah. But in a minute, I'll be explaining why this is so powerful. Right? So the next step, we'll have our premium. Yeah. So most cases, these are going to be our ROI buyers. Yeah. For them, they don't have time to waste to read. They don't have time to, spend so much on doing all the actions or what. For them, they have the money and they just want to pay you. In most cases, you either do it with them or 99% of the time, or 95% of the time, they want you to do the work for them, and then they get to reap the benefits of it. Yeah. And then why you get to make more money is the balance between the free and the premium. And in most cases, this is going to be your core offer or your core tire. Yeah. So here you're going to find our guided buyers. Yeah. So for these guys, they sometimes get to enjoy the free stuff and sometimes want to have the paid stuff. But the most important part of it all, they want you to be there with them as they do it. Yeah. And in most cases, as you take them through the process of getting money, sometimes you can refer to your free assets. That is, go watch my video on this. It has steps A, B, C, D that are going to help you overcome this barrier. Yeah. And in most cases, you will say, maybe I'll get to have a one-on-one session with you so that I'll get to target that specific spot where you're stuck and then overcome that, barrier and then keep moving on. Yeah. So that is it. Yeah. Now, how does this become a funnel? In most cases, when you're starting out, people don't trust you. But if you give them free stuff, free assets, free lead magnets, free asset video podcasts, free assets, free videos, YouTube videos, and what, they're going to trust you and you're going to build credibility. Yeah. So from here, they'll transition from, oh, now I trust this guy. He's free or have free stuff. Gets to work. They give me results. So what gets to happen if I choose to give him, to make him my guide? Yeah. So you become the guide. They come here. Yeah. From free to now guided. Now here you exercise your expertise. Yeah. In person. Yeah. Maybe in most cases you'll even say, I'm running out a free trial. Like I have a friend over on TikTok. She's running the Scene in 5 cohort where she helps like creators under 500 followers to grow their following. Yeah. So first, he's doing it for free, and then people who are watching her content, they picked interest, and then now they signed up for her cohort, and then she's guiding them. Yeah. Sometimes this can be free, like $0, or it can come at a cost. Yeah. You pay something. Yeah. It might not be as much, but at least you pay something. Because as a pro tip, for most of the guided instructors, they get to make you pay something because in most cases, when you get to pay something, you have that accountability structure that you put on yourself that, oh, I paid a lot of money for this. I wouldn't want to see it go to waste. Yeah? That is why sometimes you pay, sometimes you don't, depending on your instructor. Yeah? So again, the fact I told that this is a very powerful funnel. From that, when you get more results and you start making some money, you will see that, oh, now spending so much time with this guy is going to be useless. The fact that now I trust his free stuff. When he guided me, stuff worked out magically. Why not just go ahead and just tell him to do the project for me? I pay him money, and then life goes on like that. Yeah. So you become the ROI instructor because you're targeting the ROI buyers. Yeah. So I believe now you see how this is a funnel. You start free, you get maybe paid, and then paid extremely high. All right. So I don't know about you, but I believe the concepts we've tried to understand in here make more sense. And if at all there's anything that you would want me to, clarify further, just let me know. Yeah. So if at all you have questions, just let me know. If you don't have questions, it is still okay. But this is a funnel that I believe is going to be the most next important, more so from now onwards. Probably you've been doing it, but you hadn't thought of it from this kind of perspective. And just to recap, remember we started with buyer types. This led us to positioning. And now this led us to a funnel. So for you to understand this funnel, you have to first understand the buyer types. Yeah. Okay. And when you understand the buyer types, it is going to help you get to position yourself right. And then from that position, you will get to know what you get to charge. Yeah. Because if your buyer types, you're only targeting maybe DIY buyers, there's no point of you trying to go through all this funnel. Yeah. But if you're the kind of person who is multi talented and you have so many interests, yeah, and you're targeting this middle spot of other 3 Venn diagrams, then this is so important. It's so crucial. You know the kind of people you're dealing with, you know where you're going to fall, and then you get to position by finding those 3 key things that justify whether these guys are capable paying clients. And when you get to do that, then you position your funnel in that way. How you get to deal with each one. Remember, the goal is not only target one type of buyer, but you're targeting all three types of buyers. And when you put this into implementation, then you're going to make a lot of money. Yeah. So instead of you just making maybe 33.3% of the money, you're going to make 100% or 99.9% of the money, because each and every buyer is catered for, and there are higher chances for each of every buyer to convert to a more paying, just like we've seen. DIY buyers, they can get to convert to guided buyers who can later then convert them to ROI buyers. And either ways, you get to make money. Okay? So that is it that I had for today. If at all there's anything you want me to add, just let me know in the chat, in the comment. If you're watching a replay, leave a comment on what type of buyer are you trying to service. Yeah. Also, if you're interested in the funnel, let me know how are you planning to use this funnel in the first place? Yeah. Will you try it even in the first place? Or is it something that you wouldn't want to try? So just let me know. Okay. So that being said, I'll get to see you in the next one. I sign out.